What's up, Gloucester Township? I'm Joe Allen here with Keith Gibbons.
How you guys doing?
This is Inside GT Talk, where we basically just get on social media and
we just talk about what happens on all the random Facebook groups that are out there.
Make fun of people, basically.
Yeah, see the random comments that happen. Yeah. There are some doozies, and you guys all know it. If you're watching this, you've seen some, and you're like, what was that all about? You've
been like, man, I really lost faith in the entire community now that I scrolled through this group for a half hour today. So, that's what we're here to talk about.
Yep. So, all right, let's get started here. We have
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hey, we got a clip for you for Merry Christmas. Hold on.
Oh,
I gotta find it for you.
Oh.
Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. From what I understand, it's Hanukkah this time.
It is. It's Hanukkah this time.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas.
Yep. So happy holidays.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
We probably won't be back on again until after the holidays, so we just wanted to wish you guys all happy holidays.
Yeah, usually follow up with our stuff after every council meeting, and then the following couple days later we do an Inside GT Talk. So this will be our final show before.
Might be the new year.
Christmas.
We don't know. We might take off for January.
Probably, yeah. So, hey, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to your families. And also thank you for being with us here for the Restore GT podcast for the last year and a half. And then for a couple episodes we've done now at Inside GT Talk.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you guys checking it out. And love hearing from you guys out in public,
out in the wild,
about some of the topics. And we get emails, get some Facebook notifications. You get people coming up to you and just saying,
"Hey, did you see what happened?"
Great conversations. Yeah, it's awesome to hear. So every time.
Well, you had one the other day with Primos that reached out to you, right, and said, "Hey."
Yeah, so
and you saw it online. You're like, wait a minute, look at this.
Yeah, so a really good friend of mine he got his daughter a job at Primo's, and he was there, I guess, just talking to the owner, and the owner says, "Hey, wait, look, we're starting to do home delivery."
Okay.
And he's like, we got to hire some dryers, and my buddy's starting a business, his own business. So he wants to dedicate a lot of time to that, but he also said, I still got to kind of make some money on the side. So he's like, hey, I'll do some deliveries for you guys. And then he reached out to me and he said, hey, they haven't actually told anybody yet. So I'm here to do deliveries, but Primos hasn't told anybody yet that they're doing deliveries. He goes, you mind going on like Gloucester Township Talk and then telling people that they're doing deliveries? And I was like,
I might. That.
Yeah. You know what? I don't. I
got a certain image to uphold.
But so he hopped on there and he said, hey, Primo in Sicklerville is starting delivering, and I saw his post and I was like,
so that's the one on Cross Keys Road.
Cross Keys Road over by Nick's Pizza. Okay. I was gonna say by the car wash, but there's 15 car washes over there. So yeah, right by Nick's Pizza. Cross Keys and Sicklerville Road is essentially where it's at. Primos, they moved it to the back now. It's bigger, but they're doing home deliveries.
They heard your feedback about adding more meat to these sandwiches, and I think they're moving on.
Yeah, that was great. So when he told me he was going to do it there, I said, man, I got a turkey Diablo from there, and I don't think it's a turkey Diablo. I forget what it's called, but it's got, what pepper shooters are?
Yeah.
It's a turkey. It's a spicy turkey. Maybe it is a Diablo, but it's got pepper shooters in the I got stuck working. I was like a long day. Like I had logged in at 7:00 in the morning. It's like 8:00 and I'm still working. I'm starving.
Yeah.
And I call them and I order this sandwich and I run out there and I pick it up. And
so
I come back.
Had delivered.
They weren't doing it then, but now I could do it. I get this thing back home, and I'm like, this is a really small sandwich. And I look at it, there's no shooters inside.
Oh,
They were halfway making the sandwich, and I don't know if the fire alarm went off, but they just wrapped it up and gave it to me. And I call him up and go, I got the sandwich with the shooters in it. And I was like, yeah. I go, there's no shooters in it. And he goes, look, next time you order, it's free. And I'm like, all right. I've ordered there since then. I haven't held him to it, but I told my buddy, I go, hey, if you want me to post it on there, make sure they put everything in the sandwich.
Yeah.
So the first comment is great. Now I have to start putting meat in these sandwiches.
So then somebody else was commented that they got a cheesesteak there and it was horrible.
The same
like,
person. Somebody said, "Hey, look, they got premium quality meats in there." And I'll tell you what, I work in Center City, and there's a Primo's also in Center City, and the rolls and the meats are fantastic. It's Thurman's Meats, and Licio rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic sandwiches over there. So they use quality stuff. They're not a paid sponsor. A friend of mine mentioned this. I said I'll bring it up on the podcast.
Yeah. Paid sponsor, you'd be able to fast forward through this one. Yeah. You can't. We just had to talk about it.
She goes, I got a cheesesteak. I beg to differ. I got a cheesesteak from there, and it was light on meat. And my thought was, lady.
Well, yeah, you responded. You ordered a cheesesteak from a cold sub shop. I bet they didn't make a great Christmas dinner there either.
Yeah, you ordered a cheesesteak.
Right.
Now, if you're already on Gloucester Township Talk, and every day and a half, somebody goes, where can I get a good cheesesteak?
I've never seen Primo's as the...
190 people will tell you where to get a great cheesesteak.
Yeah.
And it's never Primo's. Right? Now,
you took it upon yourself to go to Primo's.
All the great cheesesteak places...
Deli Cozy, that's where my place is.
Oh, you're over in Glendora, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet, but I still think about it all the time. But all the great cheesesteak places don't make great hoagies.
No.
Right? It's
one or the other.
It's a different realm. You don't get cheesesteaks from Primo's, but you do get good hoagies from Primo's, and good rolls. But I got to try this place too. This Glendora place.
Yeah, you got to try that one out.
I definitely want to try that place.
Another place to try is Meadows Diner. Meadows Diner is going to have Santa Claus coming to town.
He was there.
He's making a list. He's checking it twice. December 18th.
That
was a post that was on there.
Which was in the past.
December 18th?
Yeah.
Joe, it's the 15th right now.
This is airing.
Huh?
This is airing next week.
All right. Forget that one. All right. Sorry. Next.
So, Christmas time.
Well, happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Christmas time is this isn't just a Gloucester Township thing, but this stuff
is all over the place.
This stuff here is like,
it's like moonshine of the suburbs or something. I don't know what it is.
It's like a Spanish thing, but every year, no matter where you live, and I've lived in many places.
Right, it is a thing.
This stuff is on Facebook. I've never had it, but there's always somebody selling it. Apparently, there's one person actually in Gloucester Township that just sells this stuff like crazy.
But the thing I don't get is, from what I know about this, it's you're literally taking already made spirits, like different boozes.
You're mixing
them together and then selling that.
Yeah,
that's selling alcohol that you don't have a liquor license to go and sell. That's
way illegal.
Right. Like, I don't even understand how this is allowed or what that is.
Look, I mean, personally, I think it should be allowed.
I don't care that they're doing it, but when you talk about it, it's
I think if I have a yard sale and I want to make some liquor, I want to make some liquor in the backyard, right? And people want to come by and buy some trinkets for my thing. I go, hey, you want a
Coquito or whatever it's called?
You want a daiquiri from liquor that I made in the backyard? It's $5.
Yeah,
I think you should be allowed to do that.
Okay.
But the government says otherwise. But it's crazy to me that people sell alcoholic drinks on Facebook, and then people are commenting. They're like, "Yeah, send me some."
Yeah,
People go crazy
I'll
for
take
it.
4. Give me 6.
I don't know. Have you guys ever looked at YouTube? You can just probably look at a recipe real quick and.
Well, that's the thing.
Make
Is
this.
it's not special. When some I don't remember who it was, that maybe it was my cousin or somebody. It's like, I'm making this, this alcohol. Yeah, you should try it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, maybe they distilled some random batch of some fruit that they had. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I thought when you said made it. I didn't realize you just made a drink. That's all you did. It was like, you mixed stuff that you bought at a store into a jar.
Apple pie.
That's called a mixed drink.
Well, yeah. So
Like-
I've done this a ton for like different if we're having big get-togethers and stuff like that. You go out and you buy Everclear, and you get the 190 proof Everclear, which you can't get in
cherries.
You can't get in some states. No, you get apples, you get the concentrated cider.
Yeah.
You boil all this stuff together, and then you dump in the
okay, I know what
Everclear,
you're talking about. Yeah,
and then you drop some cinnamon sticks in it, drop it in some jars, let it sit for a little while, and then you basically got
made a mixed
apple
drink.
pie.
You didn't make apple.
Your
it's
batch,
not
your
the
batch.
same-
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you're boiling stuff, you're mixing stuff, you're putting, and there's a little bit. You want to let it sit with the cinnamon in there. It's not like a mixed drink, but it's like it's a batch drink basically. You're making a big batch
I know what you're
drink.
saying, but when I'm saying make, when I think of make personally, I think make of. I distilled
Somebody's
spirits. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like not like I mixed some stuff up and made a batch of this. You know what I mean? Like that's just how I look
nobody's
at it.
they're not dropping corn mash in there and
Right.
and fermenting it and stuff like that. But
Either way,
just that comes up every
it's
year.
a hot topic out there.
and people love it, man. And people love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what does it taste like? I don't.
I've had it before. It's just I can't.
Is it like
describe
rum
really.
chata?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's good. Good
Okay,
call.
because that's what I think of. That's
Yeah.
I think of. When I looked at it before, I thought, God, it sounds like rum chata. Maybe it's just a non-commercial rum chata. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Drop a comment. Let me know. Let me know what it's like. Also, it's weird to me too that I'm just going to buy stuff that I'm going to consume from strangers on the internet.
That is true.
That was actually the weirdest part for me. Was it's so weird that people are just buying stuff they're going to eat and drink from random people from the internet.
Yeah. I
But
can see that.
yeah. But yeah. So there was another thing. There's this other post here, and
Oh, this one.
this was by you, and
Well, you can't put. Can you put that online?
I'm
Show it?
looking to find. Yeah, let me look and find if I can find. Let me see if Keith Gibbons has posted anything here. And
Well, so this one was it's a memorial, I guess you'd call it, right? From it's got to be at least a year and a half or so, and I could not find any information about it, but I see it all the time. It's at the corner of Black Horse Pike and Church, so where the old bank building was, and then the old Rite Aid. And then there's the cemetery across the street that had the recent mural that was done of the train. In front of the cemetery, there's just this weird. I don't want to say weird, but there's this memorial that I cannot figure out. Is it a child? Is it an adult? Is it for multiple people? Is it for one person? There's nothing describing what it's for. There's like Freemason things, and then there's like clams, and then there's like children's toys, and there's like a squirrel tied to the rope that goes up. You can't just pull that picture up there, or no?
I was just looking for.
But yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, here's a screenshot of it here,
strange things
basically.
that
And
go on there. And I've seen these before. Somebody tried explaining why people do these. Like, it was one of the responses that I got. I'm like, Listen, I understand why they do them. I'm trying to find out what this one
who?
is for.
Yeah,
like usually it's somebody passed away, like in a
There's a lot.
tragic car accident or
There's a lot of stuff going on though. Like, I mean, you've got like a football, like you said, the Freemason.
Well,
There's a Freemason thing. Like this was not. If this was a
there's
kid,
Harry Potter. There's
yeah.
And then the other strange part, because I walk past this all the time, and there was a plant planted in the ground that was on one side of it one day, and then I don't know, 2 days later I noticed, I'm like, wait a minute, it's on the other side. Now it's on the other side. Somebody unplanted the plant and planted it on the other side of it, and then there's like grass that's new. It's bizarre. I don't know what's going on. There's sometimes you go by, there's candles that were lit. You're like, I didn't see anybody. I was just driving by here. Where do these people come from to lit candles? And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But nobody has the actual answer. Nobody's answered on there, and
Somewhere out there, a
weird
little
one.
kid who was a Freemason passed away.
I mean, there's literally like
There's so much. There's so much
Vietnam
going
War
on.
things that go on. It's a strange.
He's a veteran child Freemason
Yeah.
who passed away, and it's just
MAB hat. Does MAB still exist?
the paint company.
Yeah, the paint company. There's an MAB hat.
So he also worked as a painter, right?
Yeah, there's a paint.
He was a
There's
painter.
men's work boots. There's
Dude, this kid really lived a life, man.
I'm telling you, I don't know what is going on with this, but I'm just curious to find. Partially just out of respect, like as you walk by and it's like, oh, I think about that guy that used to be a painter, or whatever it is. I have no idea what it is. I have no clue. It seems like it's 50 people. Like there's so many things that are there. There's not one representation of what it is, and then all the things that are printed out, they're so wet and like you can't read anything of what it is, and I was never able to read it, and it's been there for months and months. But anyway, so that was one thing. What else do we have, Joe? We had recommendations. People love recommendations.
People love doing recommendations. If you bring up anything of any kind of importance in any of the talk groups, and it's a big hot topic thing that you're like, man, whether the government's really sticking it to us or something,
Right.
you're like, whatever. But if you're like, does anybody know where I can find a red colored pencil?
Oh my God! You'll have 180 comments in 30
Everybody's
seconds.
got to tell you.
Target!
Cheesesteaks, my God, cheesesteaks. We just talked about cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, I need to get a cheesesteak,
Everyone has an opinion.
everybody's got an opinion. It's mentioned in Gloucester Township Talk. Like I said, probably every day and a half. Also, if you're a member of South Jersey Food Scene,
Oh yeah.
they ask about cheesesteaks probably every half hour in there. But recommendations, yeah. Also, if you're like, hey, I need I need a podiatrist. There'll be so many recommendations for like a podiatrist that I'm like, I don't even think all these people actually went to one. They're just recalling signs that they passed on the way. Like
Yeah.
when they were driving one day, they're like, I've seen Rowan Podiatry on the Black Horse Pike in Glowing. That's
Yeah.
a great place.
Yeah.
You ever been there?
It's a great sign. They have a great sign.
That sign it burned it into my memory. So there's a guy here. There's a guy here, and I had to. This made me think here. So a gentleman said, I'm looking for a recommendation for a licensed plumber to replace a dishwasher drain hose, which will require uninstalling and reinstalling the dishwasher itself. And
Wow.
I thought about this a lot. This was a guy too that did not
Not a fan of yours?
not a fan of our campaign, not a fan of anybody Republican, anybody that's not a Democrat. Basically, this guy was just not a fan. He was just a
Hater.
pain in the ass, really. And I thought, let's talk about this for a little bit. So this made me think.
I've installed in a total of one dishwasher.
Me too.
Twice.
Last week I did.
I've done it twice in the same dishwasher. It takes what, Joe? Two
Two
screws
screws
that go up into the.
Hold the dishwasher in.
Yep.
And then
If you remove those, you can just pull the entire dishwasher comes out.
slides it out. And then there's a hose that goes from the dishwasher to your garbage disposal.
if you have one, or
And there's generally two different ways it connects. One, there's like a spring kind of clamp. You put some pliers on it, you squeeze it, you slide it back a little bit, and then you can pull the hose off. Or there is a hose clamp, which you put a screwdriver on or a socket.
Mm-hmm.
You loosen it up, slide it back, pull the hose off, put a new hose back on, tighten it back up again. You don't. If you get a licensed plumber to come out and do this, it is going to be a ridiculous amount of money just for the plumber to show up, put this thing on, to spend the time. This is a probably, I don't know. I'm going to
18-minute job. Yeah.
I'm going to say the hose, maybe a $15 part at Lowe's. You take an hour of your time, do this, save you $15 as opposed to probably $200. But then it got me thinking, like, am I different in the fact that I don't want to call anybody for anything? I feel like anything that pops up, like I said, I had new appliances. It's a funny story. I went out to go buy Christmas lights. I needed one more set of Christmas lights for a bush that was missing when I was putting them up. And my wife and I went to Lowe's, and we were buying Christmas lights, and there was a dishwasher sitting out in the middle of the aisle. And she says, "Man, our dishwasher really just doesn't do the job anymore." So I could look at it, and I said, "Well, if you buy that, we got to, it's time we got to go to all. We probably should go to Stainless." I buy the entire kitchen, basically, all new appliances, and the guy says, "You need somebody to install it all, right?" And I'm like, install it?
You mean put it in the same place
the
other one came out of?
Yeah. Now the township would do that,
The
right?
township,
They'd hire a guy.
We would spend $40,000
They go-
on, find out
40
where
grand
should
to go.
I put the dishwasher.
Where should I put the stove? And then the contractor, the
I'm gonna
engineer would go, "I would put it right there."
I'm gonna send somebody out, and they're gonna let you know where to put it.
So-
where the best place to put it is.
That was my thought. Was all right. What's happening here, right? The fridge. It's gonna plug into the wall. Everybody knows how to plug a fridge. Everybody knows how to put a plug in an outlet.
Right.
All right. There's a water line, which is gonna be unscrew. First find your shut off that goes up to your fridge. Shut that off.
Yeah.
Mine is actually right behind the fridge. So you unscrew it, screw it into the new one. The dishwasher, it's got that line we talked about.
Yep.
And then
Well, dishwasher could be either hardwired or
new code now actually makes you if your dishwasher
Disconnect,
was hardwired,
right.
then they want you to put an outlet in
Yeah.
behind it there. And
But what
so-
I'm saying is that's the big trip up that could possibly happen.
Yes.
This guy
wouldn't-
wasn't asking to replace his dishwasher; he was asking to replace the hose.
Yeah, right. So, but in general, my thought was, what people spend a lot of money to do things that they could look. Now the dishwasher, but the wiring. All right, look, pay somebody to do that. You probably, I think by law, you probably should pay somebody that's certified to do that, but not the hose part, not the refrigerator part. The oven, there's a gas line involved there. It's there's a little common sense that teaches you how to work with gas, but it's things like that. The people go. Is it just a rare breed of people that go to YouTube that say, "I'm gonna look up and see how to do this," or do people
Well,
just
not everybody's handy, so you can't knock people for not being handy. However, I myself am like you're saying. My mother, she could watch this and she wouldn't know what's going on, but she, God bless her. But she, growing up, was like looking back. I can't even understand how she knew what she knew about things. Like we know Ray Polidoro, who on our podcast, he's one of the repair guys that are out there. Now Ray's a appliance repairman, so he's familiar with all these things. I can remember me and my sisters getting into my mother's car. Like I had to be, I don't know, 10 years old or something like that, and driving into like Pennsauken somewhere and to like an industrial park, and then she would go inside and get a part for like washing machine or something, and come out and then like go home and fix it herself. And then when you think about the time when that happened, it was like in the whatever 80s or something like that, where it's like there's no YouTube back then.
That's incredible. There, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know how you found. First of all, how you found somebody who sold the part,
right?
Or how you knew what part that you needed. But she literally would somehow. I don't know how she did it. Like it's inspiring to to know like. But that's kind of where I came from. So that's kind of built into me. But then there's other people that are just like, that's not what I do. I cannot touch it. I can't look on YouTube. It's too difficult. I need to call somebody. And that's totally fine, too. There's just different people that are different, built differently.
I'd say, though, look, I've been in situations years ago where I didn't have money to do certain things.
Yeah. So
I remember when I lived out in Pennsylvania, I lived 3 hours from anybody that I knew family-wise.
Yeah.
And I had a situation twice where I came home from work and it was cold. It was cold in the house, and at one point, it was because bees actually built a nest in the exhaust for the heater.
Right.
And then in that nest, the condensation froze around it, and then the heater wouldn't turn on. And it's freezing cold, and I'm melting down on in the basement, and I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. So I get on YouTube and I just start. I'm looking at what's it doing when I turn it on.
Right.
And then it's like, check the vent. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to stick something up in the vent. And I stuck something in the vent, and all this stuff comes out. I'm like, oh crap. And I go back and turn it on, and when I called late at night companies, the quotes that I got just to come out, I was broke.
Right.
And the feeling of fixing that myself and then another time, like when the blower went, and it was a capacitor on the blower, which is like $16, but to have somebody come out and do it, it's like crazy amount of money. The what you feel, same thing with the fridge too. I've done a capacitor on the fridge too.
Yeah.
Like that feeling of like, man, I just saved hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
When you need it, like I'm just.
But see, so there, like you said, like there's the certain person that can go do that, and like you have that great feeling of that. There's also the person that has a feeling of like resentment when they do call somebody, and that person comes out and is like, "I'm going to charge it. Here's the bill for $250," and you're like, all you did was you replaced that little thing. That's a $2 thing.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, well, that's what I spent 20 years of my life to figure out what it is to replace. So if you want to pay for the last 20, so there's a feeling that you get of accomplishment, but then there's a feeling of resentment that like, wait, that was that simple, and you did that, and now I'm pissed off that I didn't do that. Because now I have to pay money to do that. It's a weird dynamic,
that's the thing.
Right?
When you see people talk about, the guy was out here for 15 minutes and then he charged me this. Well, yeah, that guy has built up a ton of experience doing what he does.
The only reason it took him only 15 minutes is because it took him years to learn what he learned to get to that point.
If you got a guy that's been doing it for a year, he may have spent 3 hours doing it.
Right.
Right? And
are you happier that he spent 3 hours or?
Yeah, no.
Whatever. No, the same job got done.
Cold,
the same
right?
cost was there.
It's cold in the house. You just want the heat to come back on.
Right.
So when the guy comes out and he's like, bang, bang, and he's like, all right, done. This is what it costs. And you're like, wow, man, I'm glad you fixed it in 15 minutes, but $200.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How much does that part cost? And it's like $16. And you think,
man, he ripped me off.
but, but it goes to say, like, look, the experienced people, that's why they're charging what it is. But I don't know. Isn't there just a part of I'm trying to find out from those people, like, what about it is just says, I ain't touching it, man. I don't know.
Well, there's a fear that you could mess something up more. There's every one of us has an area that we just don't feel comfortable in.
My wife for days thought that the house was going to explode because I replaced the stove, and we have natural gas. So you know, you gotta.
Is that what that big hole was in the back?
You gotta turn the gas off, right? And I put new gas lines in when I got the new stove. You know, but you wrap the tape around the threads, and then you spray it down to make sure it doesn't bubble. They give you a solution that does all that stuff, or you can use soap and water. But all the stuff that I've done, you know, I worked on cars for a living before I got into IT, so it's the same kind of thing. You're looking for like leaks.
Soapy
She
water
was
blow it
afraid.
on there if there's bubbles that form.
Like 3 days later. 3 days later. I think she wanted to cook some
Let's
chicken.
open the windows, make sure we get the gas out.
3 days later, she's like, I think it's safe to turn the oven on. I go, we would have blown up by now if it wasn't. You know?
No.
And
Don't open it.
by the way, thank you for the confidence that you had in me. I mean, we went days on you saying I'm not really comfortable with you doing the whole gas line thing, and I'm like, I replaced all this stuff at my last house.
Yeah.
I'm alive still, so that was just opportunity to break that guy's stones, but and then also get into that discussion of sometimes maybe just ask, just instead of asking, saying, can somebody fix this? Go, hey, has anybody ever seen this before? There's forums for everything too.
Oh my God.
Facebook groups,
So
everything.
there's some, I don't know, on one of those town talks, there's a guy that it's literally the same person too. They work on their car. They must be working on the same car for I don't know how long. But they'll post like a picture like, hey, should this U-bolt go over here? And you're like, why does Gloucester Township need to answer that question for you? Like,
I haven't seen that one. I have
you
not.
haven't seen that guy?
No.
I was like, isn't there like a Ford Bronco group or whatever it is that you have? Like, it could help you better than a random person in Gloucester. Oh no, you haven't seen that?
No,
yet?
I haven't seen that one. I would help that guy out because I respect that. I really respect that.
Oh no, I did. I messaged him one time so I didn't answer it publicly. But yeah, we have some crazy comments out there. That's kind of what this whole podcast is about. Man, I got a lot of short dog hairs over here from your dog.
I know, Grace.
How the heck that happened?
She gets excited when you come over and she just sheds.
Yeah. But we have a lot of different topics that happen on online, and one recently that became a hot topic was the porch pirates. You know, it's getting around Christmas time. Amazon delivering packages, UPS, everyone else just leaving packages outside. People busy running around, and man, we had a
What a
nasty
porch pirate. Yeah, this was on 6 ABC. This was all over the place. I caught it on Fox 29. They had this porch pirate. She was wearing some pajama pants, I think it was. I forget what the name. I forget what she had on the pants. So she was caught. She hit a couple houses in a white van, had some stolen tags on it.
Yeah, people turned her in. The police had posted a picture of her, right? And then it actually got kind of nasty where there was an unfortunate accident, right, that happened.
She hit an officer. I don't know to what extent she hit the officer. Now, in the council meeting last week, the chief said that the officer, I guess he had gotten some treatment. He's still kind of going through some recovery. He's okay, but it wasn't. And I guess initially
could have been a lot worse.
She fled.
I did hear like they didn't even go run it, chase after her. I remember hearing people being like kind of irritated, pissed off, kind of about that. However, the part that wasn't talked about at that point, where people were mad, were what the chief said, that she had 2 kids in the car. And if anyone's ever seen a high-speed chase, like, they can get bad and dangerous. And the last thing that you want to do is injure 2 kids.
Yeah.
At the expense of the mother fearing going to jail or whatever the case is. Why put them in that range? That risk. It's not worth it. It's a couple of packages. These kids' lives are worth more than that. So they kind of let her go. And I do remember people being pissed off about them not chasing her.
They did come back out, and say that she was apprehended.
Yeah, so she was finally caught, and
there was another one, too. At the same time this was happening, there's another one.
In Gloucester Township?
Yes, another one in Gloucester Township. This guy was dressed in an Amazon vest.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
And not only, but the funny thing was, so this guy was also on a ring, was on a Ring door cam,
Yeah.
and then somewhere else, in some other part of New Jersey, in South Jersey, it was it was as a different guy. Same vest too.
Same scam.
Yes, so they're I guess they're ex Amazon employees, but now they're basically just kind of following along wherever the people are dropping off, and then they're going and picking the stuff up, and then it doesn't. This woman here, today anybody's working for Amazon. So I have a little
literally anyone could.
a little car with tinted windows pulls up in front of my house, and I'm like, oh, they're here to put a hit on me.
Yeah.
Somebody just comes out and then they drop a package and go, oh, okay, they're fine. But now, especially if you see a guy in an Amazon vest get out of a truck or something like that, run into your house, get out of any random car, run up to your house, you just think, oh, I got a delivery coming. And then I don't usually run down and meet the delivery guys. If I'm working, I'll see the guy get out of a car. He's got the vest on, so I just say, okay, I'll go down after lunch or something like that.
I'll get it before the pirates get it.
But now it's like, if you get a Ring door, get a Ring, or there's so many different companies now that do these doorbell things too. Get the package right away, and then the pirates won't be here, because it's the only thing I can think of that will.
Well, yeah, the chief during the last council meeting gave a rundown of what to do to help protect yourselves. I'm not disparaging him in any way, but a lot of it's unrealistic. Like, hey, don't ever not be home and collect your package. Someone's calling you, be there to pick it up. The other is ask your neighbor to go pick it up for you, and basically just get it off your porch. Make it no longer outside in plain view. Hide the package, which you're not delivering it, so you can't hide it, but the delivery people need to hide it. It's a whole thing. But
there are, and I guess they've targeted some of these developments now where there's a larger concentration of people.
Yeah.
So townhomes, apartments like that. But it's easy there because you've got one doorstep, and then within a few feet you got another doorstep.
Yeah.
So they do it out there. There's a lot more foot traffic out there too. So like if you drive into a development where there's a house every acre or so, it's a little more noticeable. It's a little harder to get away. But if you go into something like like a Valley Brook or something like that, and you can hit a bunch of houses at the same time, and there's a lot of foot traffic there, so people don't really notice. I'd say if you live in an area like that, where you've had this happen before, your neighbors had it happen before, the chief did mention a really good alternative, which are like Amazon lockers.
Right.
So you have your gift delivered to a locker, and I think he mentioned, I think these lockers now you can get them at Wawa's now too.
They're in a lot of different places.
I think Lowe's has them too. I thought I saw one at Lowe's. But you can get it delivered to a locker. That when you get off of work, you can just go pick up your packages there. It's a good way to go, rather than not having gifts available now. And then we're getting closer to Christmas, so.
All right, so enough porch pirate stuff. What are we gonna get into next?
So Sam talked about. I guess there was a clip here, or not this post here, and. I think somebody must have been talking about the Christmas festivities and how much money the taxpayers were going to pay for it. And I guess, Sam was basically saying that these don't cost as much as people think. You see a lot of what's going on, and a lot of this stuff is donated. There's grants for different things, for different like night outs kind of stuff. They receive money for certain things, and then some of these are funded by other organizations. But it's kind of what he was saying. But it also brings the community together. And then I don't know what the post had to do with Republicans, but he went on kind of a tear on about why Republicans don't win, and. And I hadn't heard about. That's the only thing that I heard about. And somebody said, "What is Sam doing? Like, why is he trashing Republicans again?" And
so the festivities, believe it or not, cost. Yeah.
I wanted to have Sam on the podcast, but it's he's got some family obligations. Wanted to get him on here and talk about this a little bit more. We talked, I think, last time he was here about his views on running and winning elections, and I guess he
How
had.
the hell did this post? Or I don't. Well, it wasn't. This is his response to a post that someone turned a comment.
Somebody must have made 4 different statements, and the last one was about Republicans and why they lose. And
So the reason Republicans don't win is not because Republicans fail to come out and vote. It is because, one, Republicans disappear after every election and then reappear to say, vote for me because we are not them. And then 2, because of this strategy, the independents are not inspired to vote. I don't see anything wrong with either of those statements there.
I think it's bull.
What?
I think it's bull.
What?
Republicans don't win because people don't vote. How do we know?
Well, that's true too. But the reason that they don't vote is part of his number 2. There is no one's inspired to vote because they're the Republicans, and no one knows who any of them are.
What more
and
could
we
they
went
do?
over this before with I don't know if it was the last podcast or 2 or whatever it was ago.
One of them's been podcasting for a year and a half now.
Yeah, that's that's one of them.
Look,
But that's, and I'm not just look, I'm on the same stupid podcast as you are, but and I'm don't take this the wrong way. I'm not like I'm saying I'm better than you or anything like that, but being involved in things in the community, like Sam's talking about in number whatever it was, bringing the community together. Number 2, there's something to be said for that, and I brought that up before about the Republicans. If you look at the Republican committee or whatever it is,
oh yeah,
none of them are involved in anything. You go to GT Sports. The sports you have, we went over in the last podcast that Mignon was up there talking about, sports constantly, Miss Winters, like all those those different things. That's part of like being more involved in the community and well known in that. And then there was a statement by Caitlin Garcia, one of our other representatives, about that she's basically better than the rest of us because she does this, that, or the other.
She gave Halloween candy or something like that.
Yeah, she gave Halloween candy to the schools. And, Denise Coyne got up there after she said that and made an excellent point that it's not our job to go to those different things. You're doing that to go get elected. And you don't know what the people in the community do. And, there's... how am I on this tangent here? I don't know. Why am I?
So the stuff that they do and they get credit for is widely celebrated. I mean, look at the contribution that Denise. Look at her contributions to the community and how many people she's helped.
Yeah.
If she ran for election, she'd lose, and she's done more than any of the people that represent us. But but if she ran for election without the money and the backing,
she doesn't do any of it with asking for
recognition.
And that's the difference.
I found out by just digging through history that she did this. It's never even been mentioned before.
Right.
That she saved somebody from losing their house, and she feeds hungry people. And I've asked before, especially after the last council meeting, actually, when they were talking about feeding hungry people, and I just said, "Hey," and it was in a group chat. I said, "How do we have a problem with hungry people in Gloucester Township?" And she said, "Yes."
Yeah, I told you. Yeah, unfortunately.
And that's exactly why I asked, because I knew she was the person to ask because of that. For that. So, but she's not out there doing it for credit.
Right. And see, I don't think
I never wanted.
We have the rec center. We did Thanksgiving. I think it was 100 turkeys. 100 families that we fed.
Wow.
Tomorrow morning, I'm in Camden. I'm feeding another, 200 and something, families with turkeys and putting boxes of, dinners together for Christmas time. But they're not things that you go out and promote, that you did. But that's what she was, her comment would crack me up was she was like, I'm not out here with this grandiose accomplishment asking for a parade for myself, which, our council went up there, decided she wanted to have, done for her because she somehow did something great. But the Republicans in general in this Sam statement here, I don't disagree with them in that they're not involved and they just kind of disappear off into the sunset, and then it's just like, oh, election time's coming up. All right, well, guess what we did behind the scenes? We found 4 names that we're going to put up, and you need to vote for those 4 names because they're not them.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, who are they? Who are these people that you're saying we need to vote for? They're never going to win that way. And it's just that you wonder why things...
There are, I think there too. I think there are some kind of roadblocks here too, in people that want to, we've seen it before where somebody decides they want to start a festival somewhere to bring people together, and the township goes, no, we do that kind of stuff,
right.
Or any kind of like, look, the Republicans went out and tried to clean up a neighborhood, and right at election time. And boy, they still talk about that you just put on a polo shirt, you come out and you clean up a neighborhood. Well, to me, look, I was new in town when I immediately said, "Oh, there's a problem here in politics," and that's when I got into politics. I didn't think it was going to be genuine for me to go out and all of a sudden say, "Oh, I've got to go find a whole bunch of new charities now to get involved in so that I can run for office so people will elect me."
No.
But I see what you're saying. The people that are winning these elections,
they should be doing. And I'm not saying that they're not. I don't know that they're not, so I can't say that they're not. But I'm saying that it should be more. I don't know how to say this. It shouldn't be publicized that they're doing it, but it should be that they are doing it. That that they're doing it to a degree, like. For instance, tomorrow in Camden is the union is putting this, this thing on that I'm, going to be helping thing. The Rotary is putting this thing on, and it's known in the community. Oh, the Rotary is doing this. There's nothing stopping the Republicans from saying, "Hey, we should fundraise, whatever it is. Not a campaign, but just we should fundraise in order to help support our community in doing something, right?
Yeah,
and put out a." Whatever it is, if you can fundraise to get 20 families fed, find 20 families that you can help, or whatever the case. Yeah. I'm not saying feed families. I'm saying whatever it is. I feel like I'm promoting myself, but I'm not. I'm just using it as examples of I was walking by, with my daughter. I would take her down to this creek, and we would just go exploring and doing kid stuff, and it's just bottles and dirt and trash all over the place. And I'm like, we should clean this up. Why can't we clean this? So let's start a cleanup thing. Well, I already learned from the town does not want Keith Gibbons going and doing something. Right. So I partnered with the Rotary and said, hey, do you guys want to do this? It's an Earth Day thing. We could help clean up the thing. And I remember even saying to you, too, before, when you're running for Sam, running with Sam, hey, what about, starting up a clean, the what do you call it? How they were bashing, I guess you could say, the Republicans for showing up to a cleanup day. Not for nothing. There's a difference between showing up for one and then organizing one. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? So, not that I could see why they're bashing them, but I could somehow. You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference between knowing that there's a problem, addressing the problem, whatever it takes to address it, versus there's something that somebody else organized to come up, and I'm going to put my polo shirt on and go show up. And again, I'm not knocking the guys that did that or anything like that, but I'm just saying the Republicans in town, to Sam's point in this post over here, has validity to say there are things you could do in the community to become more known, for people to go and vote for you. It's
weird to me. I was thinking too, if you were to ask me today, hey, next week we're going to do this cleanup thing, would you do it? And I'd say, yeah, I'd do it. But when I was running, if you would say, hey, do you want to be a part of this cleanup thing? To me, it seemed like, oh, I don't want to be.
Right, it's fake.
I don't
right?
want to. I don't want to be that fake
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Although genuinely, I would do it, but I don't want to seem fake. And honestly, that's not my contribution to. I didn't want to be a politician to be a politician. I wanted to be a politician because I thought that there was things I could do to help the community.
Right.
But I didn't think that I needed to go do all this other stuff to qualify to just be responsible and speak for people.
No,
you know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I just learned, I guess you could say, of it from not being no aspirations of that, but like, so down the shore, like there's the intercoastal waterways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a part of like cleaning up those there and see the friendships that you build of random people that you didn't even know
Yeah.
that were like, hey, you care about our community just like I do, and I have nothing to do with like anything that you like, and you know, like you might repair dishwashers, but I'm going to call somebody to go do mine. But guess what? We both have, you know, and it's just, it's one other thing that you can kind of help build a little bit of pride in there. I don't know. I'm getting way off on topic.
No,
But
no, I get it,
it's
though.
just
Yeah, I get
another
it, yeah.
thing that it doesn't take like the effort of like you know, sports, like we talk about, like, you know, there's a lot of people that are in sports on council, just say like that we're saying, and then you say, oh well, the whole Republican committee doesn't have any children, so they don't have anyone in GT sports. Well, there's something that they could do. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have kids in order to,
I guess,
to be involved in the community. There's something else you could have done. You could have done this, that, or the other. And then to your point, there's things that they'll just stonewall you and stop you from being able to do. But there's things that they can't stop you from, you know, doing. Like, I remember somebody, when I was trying to, or when I organized that cleanup of Pharaoh's Run over there, people were like, well, that's a public easement. You can't, they're not going to allow you to do it. I'm like, no, I already looked into the property lines. The property lines are, it's the property owners, and I already got permission from both of them. They would love for us to clean, you know, that up, because it's just a mess that, you know what I mean? So there's things that you can and can't do, and they can and can't, or how am I trying to say this?
Yeah.
That they can't stop you from doing, that are still being able to get involved. I don't know why I'm talking. I'm so far off on.
You know,
I don't even know how we're on this topic.
It'd be interesting to know that. So I basically lived here for, I think, a year and a half before I went to my first council meeting and said, "Hey, what's going on with the taxes here? Why are they moving so much?" So I wasn't even really a part of the community for a year and a half.
Well, I feel like that's how most people are. They don't. They're not. They're just. They live here. Like, they sleep here and then they leave. That's.
Yeah,
we call it a bedroom community,
it
right?
Would be, it'd be interesting to know that what would happen if, instead of me a year and a half, 2 years in, jumping right into, I'm going to try to get elected and fix this, rather than I'm going to become a part of the community, I'm going to do some of these things, and then 10 years later I decide, hey, I want to be a councilman. I'd be curious to see, like, how that path would change, and you know, it would certainly, I would know more people, and I would probably have more backing.
See, and then, you know, another thing, like, that's a great point when you talk about, like, you're getting involved in that. In that, someone else has already coordinated something for you. Someone's already done, and then you kind of look to them to be like, oh, that's the leader, we'll call it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the person that's driving this, and that's if they decide that they're going to go run, maybe that's who I'm gonna get behind Joe, because he was at those things that I went to 2 of them, and he was at both of them. In reality, you were at 12 of them, but you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's might be more what is happening when they're like, he's a coach on a soccer kid. That's who I'm gonna get my kid's soccer coach. Yeah, well, he's a great guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's a really big thing when it came up. That was a big part of our campaign when I ran with Sam. Everybody knew Sam. Right, he's involved with the.
We went across the street. Sam just happened to be over, and he just starts talking to random kids across the street, and they're like, "Hey, Coach Sam!"
Right.
And then he goes, "What? I didn't know you knew them. And
Right.
I'm like, how do you know them? And he goes, I coached them. And,
Right,
and
yeah.
other kids. And then the same thing when Jeff Nash. Jeff Nash? Jeff Nash.
Jim.
Jim.
Jeff. I don't know. Jim.
I get there's two of them. But
Caitlin Nash.
yeah, when Nash ran for council in Gloucester Township, what I heard from a lot of people was, "Oh yeah, he's in GT Sports. He coached my son. Great guy." A lot of people say, "Great guy,
Right, that's-
great guy."
well, that's
I
just
said,
what my
"Man,
point is."
that really, hey, that really is something." So, yeah, I mean, you're definitely onto something there when it comes to that. But
When you're pulling up here.
this is for the next topic I wanted to kind of get
okay.
on here.
Yeah, we went. I don't know how that got so long. I wasn't. I was trying.
No, you do.
I was trying to like.
that. You do stuff I don't even know about.
Right.
And we talk quite a bit. You're in a lot of charities that I had no idea. So,
Well, I think that was kind of Denise's point in that thing there. Like, you don't know what we do. Don't sit up there like you're better than than us. I don't think
yeah.
I'm better than you. You don't think you shouldn't be saying that you're better than us. Anyway, all right, let's get on to the next. Sorry.
So the next topic that came up was from Denise Coyne, and it didn't get a whole lot of comments, as with most political things here. But FYI, the property at 1550 Hyder Lane across from Our Lady of Hope Parish is going in front of the zoning board Wednesday evening, 12/13 at 7 p.m. They're seeking variances for a subdivision and site plan. The plan is for 60 age restricted apartments on 13.6 acres and 4 single-family homes on 2.93 acres. The use and density were previously approved. The application begins on page 116. So
Yeah, she attached that. Yeah.
she attached it, and then basically, if you were trying to figure out where this was coming from, so here's the church, the Our Lady of, what is it? Our Lady of, what was it called?
Hope, I think.
Our Lady of Hope Parish.
That's where there's a carnival usually happens there.
Yes. So if you go up the street here, straight ahead there, it brings you to Pep Boys and McDonald's. And if you go,
PNC, all that.
this way, which is where it is, if you go straight on this road, takes you up to Gloucester
Right to the
Township,
municipal
right to the
building and
municipal
Veterans
building.
Park, yeah.
And 1550 is basically
All on
this,
the right, yeah.
all this wooded area here. So they're going to put apartments in there. It sounds like they're trying to put apartments in here. And then a couple single family homes.
Yeah, fortunately.
And yeah, it's upsetting some people. It's not upsetting as many people as I thought it would, but it keeps bringing up this same topic of open space and
yeah.
this more condensed housing and what this does for the community. And it's, I don't know, it's more, the more people you pack in to a smaller area, the more stress you put on the infrastructure around it. Infrastructure meaning the schools and everything else around it. So it's,
I believe, off the top of my head, I think it's like 1,300-ish or so units that we have approved already to be built in Gloucester Township. Not that they're in progress, but they're approved to be
in
built.
that location.
No, not in that location. In Gloucester Township as the location.
Okay.
This is talking about like Lakeland. There's like 600 and something. There's like, but throughout all different areas. There's over by Ann Mullen across from that. They're not actually in the process, but it's just the numbers growing. We have affordable housing requirements that need to be met for each different thing. So that's a factor in it. And there's, I don't know, it's a strange topic. Like, when you think about it, say you're the owner of that 1550 or whatever, 1550 Hyder Lane. Say you own that, right? And you decide you're going to build on there. Who am I to stop you from
Right.
saying
If-
you can't do that. If it's zoned already for that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You might need a
Zone-
variance here or there of like, all right, we can't put you know, the town's thing says, you know, my light needs to be recessed, whatever it is, like 15 feet from the road, but I needed to have it 8 from, you know, like there's things that you could need, but who is anyone to stop them from doing that? Like it's part of like the government should stay out of my way and help me thing versus stop me. And then other people don't realize it's not the township that's putting this. It's an individual owner that owns that. And I think in Denise's, like I can't speak for her obviously, but I think in her putting this out is just an awareness thing for people, just to say, hey, this is happening.
Yeah.
Don't later on say you didn't know about it. If you had a major issue with this, you should have showed up. It was made aware to you. I think it was more of a public service announcement than a hey, I'm against all housing being built ever, and and all that kind of thing. Like there's a need for age restricted housing. We had Senior Campus 1 over on Lakeland that was sold to us by Camden County, the property over there, and we never actually built everything that was supposed to be built. And the reason that they sold the property to us was because there was a lack of senior housing. So here's more senior. So it's a whole thing, and there's so many dynamics on it. But people just like to just more housing. They killed off that land that was a deer's house. Which, look, I totally get and totally understand too, but there are multiple sides to different scenarios.
Yes,
somebody
owns that property, and somebody likely bought that property because they saw the potential in the investment.
Right.
So if you all of a sudden say, "Hey, that just needs to say trees," that doesn't help that property owner loses that money, unless for some reason the township gets, say, Green Acres money. And says, "Hey,
right, if you preserved it ahead of time or something," and that's where somebody like Brian Burns comes into play as a huge asset to the to the town to say, "Hey, he's helping you find these locations, talking to the owners, doing the legwork for you, finding the money from Green Acres, and saying, look, preserve it. It costs you and the taxpayer nothing. Just do it." And so he's helping preserve those kind of things. These sort of things here. I particularly don't have a problem myself with something like that actually taking place if that's what it was zoned for. And I don't know if this one was zoned for that. I'm just saying if it were and somebody's going to build on it, you can't stop them from doing that. Progress has to happen. Progress comes at a cost. And
she says the use and density were previously approved. So I don't know how long ago it was approved for that. So maybe it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, if it was, there's not a whole lot you can do, but if the owner says, I got this property and I'm going to sell it to this apartment company for this builder for $4 million, and if you have $4 million in Green Acre money, maybe you can you can facilitate something like that, but you can't as the government just go back and tell people that, hey, that land that you bought that we said you could use for this, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You can't do it. Otherwise, the township gets sued.
It's funny about that particular property there. I remember my daughter, she went to Goddard School, which is...
Across the street, right?
Not across the street there. I don't know what that school is, but it's further up. If you go up to where the municipal building is, then you make a right, and you go right past the shop right
across
on the left.
the street, yeah. Yep.
So... I would pass that, though, every single morning. And, I'm like in the concert business, festival business, and she's always with me and everything. And I forget what festival I was doing. She was with me. And then one day we were going past that property, and she's like, Dad, that would be a good spot to put a festival over there. And she's little. Like, I don't know how good we were at God on. And I'm like, you're right. That would be a cool spot to have it, but it wouldn't be allowed there because it's trying to explain to her. And even back then, I wasn't into government stuff. I just knew enough. Like, yeah, you can't do that there. But it's funny that like she had pointed that out. Like, yeah, that's a good. All she saw was like just a field. Like there was the trees that you had pulled up on there. They didn't exist. It was just like a field. They started mowing only a certain area of it, and now it started growing up higher. But yeah, it's funny. Like there are certain things that are zoned for something, so that could be on the plans to say like, hey, housing is allowed here, and maybe it wasn't at the acreage that Denise is saying it was previously approved for at a time that they got approved, but it is, and it's something's being built there. It's unfortunate that open space, I guess you'd call it, is going away, but
I do. The only thing that I thought of when I saw where it was, and I remembered all the political signs that were up that street there. And it was
somebody owns that, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, not only just that, but all the houses after that were all were all the same. Not my team, all the same other team signs all the way up the street, and I thought, good, you put the apartments next to your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then when we see some of the people on the street too that are moving away now.
Oh, you for sale signs you see also. Yeah.
So they're like, hey, I want to sell this land I got over here to this apartment complex, and then I'm gonna dip out now. So yeah,
peace.
Yeah. Thanks for making your money and then dipping out.
Yeah.
But so just another one of those things comes up. I haven't heard about any other. So the warehouse stuff's been quiet.
Yeah. Haven't heard much.
Nothing behind Target. I don't. Anything what's going on behind Target?
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't seen any movement over there. I mean, I live down the street from it, so I pass it all the time.
All I know is they had that one field they cleared because of the bird migration. If they didn't get it done in time, then they had to wait a longer time. But now it's
been nothing. Nothing's happening
since
then.
It hasn't moved. So who knows?
That's all I got.
All right, so that was GT talk for the week, and I guess next time we'll have other topics. You guys have something else that you guys see that you want us to talk about?
Next council meeting is on Wednesday, December 27th.
Oh, you know what, though? Before we get cut off, the one thing that we did not talk about that was on, it wasn't, I don't know if it was on GT Talk, but there was the fire commissioner thing. We're not going to get into the whole thing, but I did want to bring up.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of dirt that was spilled, whistleblower type stuff with a fire commissioner at Lamb's Terrace.
Yeah.
And we had a few people reach out to us through calls and through direct messages and things of that nature. And I think we want to put that out there, even if we're just making a clip of this thing here to put out there to say, hey, we want to have anyone that's willing to come on to talk, and we can keep your anonymity. You don't need to be seen. We can blur you out, keep you off camera, disguise your voice, but we want to hear dirt. We want to, start bringing in more people to help expose things. Like, there's a lot that can be exposed when people actually open their mouths and talk, and we completely understand that there's a reason that people don't do it for fear. It's a big factor. There's careers at stake, when you're talking about this stuff, and we don't want to jeopardize that.
We did get some responses from some folks that I know pretty well, and they said, look, there's a lot to say, but I'd rather not do it in any form of writing.
Yeah.
But if you want to sit down and talk, we'll do it, and that's still got to make that happen, but.
Even if it's meeting with us offline, not recording, not if you fear that, just telling us so that we can then relay it. But it just comes so much better when someone else is actually speaking. I can't tell Joe something and then he relays the same message I have, or same vice versa. Like Joe can't tell me something and I tell you the same way he could do it. It's kind of the same thing as what we're hoping that somebody is willing to help us get out there, That's
we
kind of
could do. I definitely not masters at this, but I did start looking into how I can change how I can disguise somebody's voice, how I can do I can do a blur over top of somebody. So if they want to talk in an anonymous way, I would have to basically we'd have to sit down. We do a regular podcast. And
nothing would go out before it wasn't already approved by you to see what everything was.
I would have to edit it, make it private, share it with that person, say when you're comfortable, I'll release it. But
just think about how great that would be to get that off your chest, though, that you can get your actual words out there and get your message.
Yeah, or even if you don't want to come in. write everything down. We sit there, we just read it.
Yeah.
Because it's just trying to be the voice.
Yeah,
trying to be the
either way,
voice. Trying to be the voice.
Just throwing it out there. Maybe we find somebody, maybe we don't, but we're just throwing it out and hoping someone is willing. We've had many that are willing to come talk to us, but don't want to come on so far. But maybe we will.
Maybe you maybe you share this
Maybe
podcast. Yeah, maybe they share this podcast. If you're not already subscribed, if you're one of the over 2,000 people that they looked at the last the last video regarding the fire.
Yeah.
2,000 people. Just subscribe. We put out some stuff every now and then that some people.
Yep. It's all about your town, folks. It's all thanks to you. All right. Well, thanks for joining in tonight. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification buttons, and we will see you guys next time.
See you, folks.